This piece of glass can completely transform your lens. But most filmmakers and photographers completely overlook it. And honestly, most lens manufacturers don't want you to know about it. To make it simple, a diopter is basically a magnifying glass for your lens. It reduces the minimum focus distance, letting you get closer to your subject even if your lens has poor close focusing abilities. This is huge for anamorphic lenses, which often have terrible close focus distances. But it also means that you can turn any lens into a macro lens for cheap, which is probably why lens manufacturers don't talk about them much. Here is a small selection of diopters in my collection. This is a real magnifying glass that I found in a yard sale. Here we have a vintage diopter for photo lenses. Some miniature diopters for Polaroid lenses or camcorders. Some 72mm diopters that you can find on eBay for cheap. And finally, one of the best diopters out there for anamorphic and cinema lenses. So if it's just a magnifying glass, why do some cost $400 while others cost $1? The price difference mainly comes from the size of the glass, the quality of the glass, and the coatings. Cheap diopters often have uncoated or low-quality glass, which can cause weird reflections, color shifts, and image softness. The high-end diopters, like the one used in Hollywood, are optically perfect and gives you close focus without degrading image quality. When you buy a diopter kit, you generally get the same set of strength. A +1 diopter, a +2, a +4, and a +10 that is so strong that it's not usable for most scenarios. The higher the number, the stronger the magnification, and the closer you can focus. But how much closer? Let's break it down using this 75mm lens, which normally focuses no closer than 75 centimeters. Let's start with a +1 diopter. It's a small change, but it brings the focus distance down from 75 centimeters to around 43 centimeters. That's already a noticeable improvement. Now, with a +2 diopter, we can focus at 30 centimeters, bringing in way more details. A +4 diopter takes us even closer, to just 19 centimeters. At this point, we're entering macro territory, making small details much more visible. And finally, a +10 diopter gets us down to just 8.8 centimeters. But at this level, depth of field becomes razor thin, so you'll need to be precise with focus. Another great thing about diopters is that you can add one on top of the other to get stronger values. Like if you add a +1 on top of a +2, you get a +3 diopter. If I put the $1 magnifying glass in front of my lens, I get a strong magnification, but the image quality is really bad. The mid-range one is better. But the pro-level diopter keeps everything tack sharp. Let's redo the same experiment, but this time the aperture is set to 2.8. We keep the same lens, and we only compare the mid-range diopter to the most expensive one. And now it's really hard to spot any differences. It means that a really good diopter will keep sharpness on a fast lens, while a cheap one will lose most of the details. This is where diopters really shine. Without one, you can't focus close or get macro shots. But with a diopter, you can get tight close-ups without losing the anamorphic look. Most anamorphic lenses have a large front element, meaning that a smaller diopter will work, but will introduce vignetting. With a more expensive, larger diopter, you get no vignetting. Some anamorphic adapters with large front elements, like the Iskorama, actually needs large diopters to be usable for close-ups. So, does this mean diopters are better than real macro lenses? Well, yes and no. A real macro lens is built for sharpness and details, but they're usually slower, which means you need more light and you don't get as much background blur. A diopter, on the other hand, lets you use ultra-fast lenses like a f1.2 or f1.4, so you get insanely nice bokeh. But you do sacrifice sharpness at the edges. And the stronger the diopter, the more distortions you'll get. So if you need absolute sharpness, a real macro lens is better. But if you want cinematic dreamy close-ups with creamy bokeh, a diopter on a fast lens can actually give you a more artistic, unique look. So which diopter should you get? If you're just experimenting, even a $15 kit will work. But if you want clean, pro-quality shots, investing in a good diopter is totally worth it. Diopters are a simple and affordable way to turn almost any lens into a close-up machine. Investing in expensive ones would only make sense if you are using massive cinema lenses or anamorphic lenses. But for $20, you can get some incredible results with any lens. I will put links to the diopters I used and recommend in the description.